Hello everybody, Derek Hotchkiss, Pioneer Spirit Properties here, here to give you a overview of a featured property you currently have in inventory. So I'll jump right in. This property is in Oregon, Klamath County, as are most of my properties. The subdivision is Oregon Shores 2. You can see the assessor's parcel number there. This is a smaller lot, a little under half an acre at 0.42. It is rural residential and zoned for building. So if you haven't seen one of these videos before, these are the answers or the questions I try to answer as I kind of take you through this virtual tour and property overview. So we'll go over some maps of showing you where the property is located, some additional photos and videos with additional explanation, give you some additional details, talk about what you can do on the property, show some comparables of sold properties and listed properties in the area, and then talk about my owner financing program, explain how that works, and then give you some additional details on the property, other properties, and my business in general. That being said, let's jump right in here to the maps. This big red cursor or indicator that you're familiar with shows where the property is located. You can see it's right on the banks of Agency Lake or Klamath Lake, largest surface area lake in Oregon. Access is great because it's right off Highway 97 and Crater Lake Highway. So year-round access. Crater Lake is just to the northwest. 97 runs all the way up to Washington if you're not familiar with it. You can't see it on this map, but if you were to continue north here, Chemolt, Bend is up here, Sun River, etc. And then to the south of the property, about a 35-minute drive, is the major population center in the area, which is Klamath Falls. That's where you're going to find your big box stores, Home Depot, restaurants, movie theater, etc. And if you continue south, you can probably see this dotted line here is the Oregon-California border. And then to the west of the property, over the Cascade-Siskiyou mountain range here, you have I-5 and the Rogue Valley that runs north on the west side of the Cascades. So hopefully that's helpful to frame where this property is geographically located. Moving on, everyone wants photos and videos, so I've got some drone footage here. I'm going to pause it and talk through some of this. So this property, this 0.42 acre parcel, if you can see my green hand there, is basically right in here. This is Treeland Court. This home here actually sits on two lots. There's a lot separating this lot and their property line. But because that house is there, electricity has already been brought to the area. There's a transformer down here, fiber optic cable, which I'll show you some other videos later. So it's nice and established, sloping property, and we'll talk about some of the other details. Obviously you got Agency Lake in here. We'll also talk a little bit more about, there's an 18-acre community campground. It's private only for homeowners and property owners in this area, right here on the banks of the lake. Up here on top of this little plateau, you see this big cistern. That's part of the community well system, which we'll also talk about. So a lot of important amenities in the vicinity of this property. And then I'll just kind of let this run. You can see the mountain range in the back, a nice big lake. You see meadows moving into stands of evergreen trees, lots of nice custom homes, and Oregon Shores too. And you can see it just kind of cradled in this nice valley here in between these mountain ranges and the lake. All right, this is another video. I was out on the property a month or so ago and just went and kind of stood off the street line and did a panoramic here. So you can see some nice evergreen stands here bordering the property, provide a little seclusion and good views. You can see the property, like I mentioned, is sloping. Here's the top of that community cistern, or that community well cistern up there on top of the plateau. Lots of wildflowers, sage bushes, etc. Going back to the property being sloping, I think this adjacent home provides a good example of, it's level enough to build, obviously. but that backdrop, that slope provides a nice backdrop and some seclusion, so you're not looking straight over that, open meadow. So that's kind of cool, provides a little seclusion. I talked about it also here, kind of at the base of their driveway in Treeland Court that this property lies on is the communication box and the transformer for electric. And then this was kind of a nice surprise. Whoops, my father-in-law were out there to fish and stopped by the property and saw this small equipment right on my property line, and we went up and talked to them, and they said, oh, we're here installing fiber optic cable on the street. So that was a nice surprise I wasn't expecting. So it has fiber optic cable now too. Realize I'm going kind of fast here on this panoramic, but you can see right across the street. So, assuming the house is up here and you're looking down, you've got some great views of evergreen stands and just nature. So pretty cool. Again, we were out there fishing, so I thought I'd just take a quick video on my phone of the lake. This is on Agency Lake looking east. This community is over here off the banks of the lake, and nice beautiful summer day. And then I pan over here, another cameo by my father-in-law, just to show you the mountain ranges and kind of show you the lake if you're not familiar with the area. We didn't catch anything, but saw some huge fish jump, a lot of red band trout in Klamath Lake, but it wasn't our day. Hopefully you have better luck if you secure this parcel. And then just jumping into some photos. A lot of these are pulled from the same drone footage, but again, this is the property in here right off the cul-de-sac, the lake, the campground, the community well, and again you can see these stands of evergreens kind of surrounding this little portion of the neighborhood, and very well maintained roads. Part of the property owners association will talk about $200 a year. They get you access to the community well, the campground, but they also gravel and maintain these roads in the winter, plowing, etc. So that turns a lot of people off, but I think you're getting a lot for your money given all that. So this GIS map you can see is a little skewed. This should be over the cul-de-sac here, but again it provides kind of the parcel outline. If you were to just move this up a little bit, it kind of hugs this cul-de-sac. It comes up the hill and then down. So kind of frustrating that it doesn't overlay exactly, but I think it still helps frame the property lines. And then this is just some more aerial footage. Again, this is the property in here. I think you can orient yourself based on the videos we've already looked at. And this is a street view. Again, you can see it kind of a slow rise, and then it levels out a little bit, and then another slight rise up to that plateau. And this is, again, is from on the property, and you just can kind of see lush in the spring, summertime, some wildflowers and some sagebrush and just wild grasses. Okay, well, just wanted to give you a quick orient you to where this community campground I've mentioned, 20-acre or 18-acre community campground is. So this blue star, smaller blue star, is the property. This is Treeland Court and then Treeland Road, and then this is the community campground. Campsites, RV full hookups, showers, restrooms, gazebo you can rent for family reunions, whatever. This is open to obviously property owners and friends and family members of property owners. So a pretty cool little nice attribute to have. Not everyone can have, a piece of property right on the lake, but everyone in the community gets to enjoy the lake with that bonus property. So some of the finer details, again, a little under half an acre. Whoops. The terrain, sloping, I think we've talked about all this. Elevation we haven't talked about. It's about 4,300 feet. So you'll get snow in the winter. Klamath County has all 4 seasons. Good news if you're not super familiar with the area, it's Central Oregon, so it's 265 to 300 days of sunshine a year, but it'll get cold. We talked about the maintained gravel roads. We talked about the power in the community well. I think it's about $2,700 to connect to the community well. But if you've been looking for land for a while, you probably know that that's a heck of a lot cheaper than digging your own. You need a septic tank. Taxes are pretty cheap. Right now with no structure on the property, it's $75 a year. And then we talked a little bit about the Property Owners Association at $200 a year. That covers the road maintenance, the community campground, and access to the community well. Camping and RV, I get this question a lot. So the Klamath County ordinance allows for camping 21 days every 6 months, and then that's unlimited once you have an active build permit. However, in this community, they prefer that you use the community campground as opposed to putting a trailer on your property. But you can work that out with them. So what can you do on the property? It is permitted for rural residential, so obviously the primary use is building a dwelling to live in. A single-family dwelling, the Property Owners Association requires a minimum of 1,000 square feet, and for manufactured home, no more than 5 years old with association approval. The key there is just to get your plans, blessed off and reviewed by the community association. Okay, moving into comparables. Again, I'm using Redfin for this. Properties in the area. These aren't sold or listed properties, but it's giving you estimate on this Treeland court. Between obviously this 668 is the one with the house on it, but the properties in this area all about the same size, so they're ranging from 14.5 to almost 16,000 for cash sales. That's more than I have mine listed for owner financing. So typically when you're buying an owner finance piece of land, it costs more than local cash sales, because you're not going to pay it off for several years. But wanted to point that out, that my owner finance price is cheaper than the estimated cash price. So someone's going to get a heck of a deal. And again, this is just more specifically showing you actual properties. Slightly larger property here at almost 0.6 acres for 24,000. That's double, but you can see this one has some lakeside views, so that's part of it. And then the other end of the spectrum, you got a half-acre parcel here for 13,000. So again, and this one sold in January, this one in March. Again, I'm just trying to show you that one wide range of prices. Land is inefficient and hard to comp out, but my price on owner finance is competitive and even better than some of the sales cash sale prices you see on here. So I won't belabor that point, other than just to close out by saying someone's going to get a pretty good deal. Land values are rising in this area. Okay, so on that note, how does owner financing work? This is another frequently asked question I get. So how it works is you basically provide the initial down payment and the documentation fee. You can do that right on my website. Just click a button, and basically you submit that initial payment and reserves the property for you, and then we draw up all the paperwork, which is a receipt for the money you paid, a promissory note for the loan, the purchase agreement, and the land contract. This is all done online through a digital signature platform. It's a legally binding contract, so it's all legit, but also very convenient. Once that's all done, I basically initiate an online loan dashboard, much like your mortgage or your car payment, your bank. You can log in, see when your next payment's due, see how much, see what the amortization schedule is, make additional principal payments, etc. All the paperwork also gets uploaded in there, so you always have access to it. So some of the details of the program itself: I don't charge interest. There's no prepayment penalty, so a lot of people want to start building ASAP, so they'll send more than the minimum monthly payment, or you get your tax return and want to send a couple $1,000s towards paying the land off. You're able to do that with no penalty. A lot of my clients don't live in the area, so I offer a 60-day principal back guarantee, which means you can make that initial down payment, we'll do the paperwork, and you have 60 days to go visit the property, make sure it's what you thought it was going to be and what you want. And if it's not, no questions asked. You can just tell me, hey, I want to back out of the contract, and you get everything but that $150 non-refundable documentation fee back. Another bonus I offer that a lot of people have taken advantage of lately is at any point during the contract, I'll allow you to roll your equity into another property that I have in inventory. So if you see something you like better, I advertise to current clients first before taking properties to the general market. So we just do some paperwork, and you can secure a new property, and all the payments you've made toward the current one roll into that. So that's a nice benefit. I try to add in as much flexibility as possible, as I know buying real estate online can be daunting to some folks and scary. So anyways, that's the once around the world on that. And lastly, thank you. My contact information's there. You can give me a call, shoot me a text at this number, 503-862-8108. Shoot me an email, derek@pioneerspirit.me, or go check out this property and other properties I have available at www.pioneerspirit.me. Thanks for sticking around, and I hope that was helpful.